Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about how to banish unwanted thoughts during meditation. Actually, it doesn't necessarily just apply to meditation, but it's the kind of thing where you're thinking, well, my mind ought to be quiet, and why isn't it? So get over the fact that mind chatter happens all the time. We've got it, not necessarily voices in our head, but definitely thoughts going through our heads. Quite often they do actually manifest as internal voices because that's kind of how we hear what we're thinking, because we don't tend to write it down in our head and then read it. So that's kind of what the mind chatter is. But quite often it manifests as unwanted thoughts. So let's find out, or let's have a discussion on how we can get rid of at least some of them. And the main trick is not to get attached to your unwanted thoughts. They're going to happen. As I said, unless you're actually completely brain dead, and chances if you're watching this that you're not, you're going to have thoughts. And some of those are not going to be thoughts that relate to meditation, which could be, why is that candle flame not flickering quite right, or what are those binaural beats doing, or whatever other method of meditation you use. But the trick is not to get attached to them. You can grip unwanted thoughts for grim death, and the problem with that is that the grip intensifies, your mental hand starts to hurt. Or you can just, what's known as, release them, let them float past. Think of them as a sort of small fluffy cloud that just drifts past, and you can see it. If you look out the sky outside, and if you've got a blue sky or something like that, the occasional blue, white, wispy cloud just goes across. And if it's not that, think of something else, maybe some leaves blowing down the street, whatever. And most of the time you actually can't grip those, because you've ever lost a piece of paper or something, you try and grab it in the wind, and actually the more you try and grab it, the less you can actually grab, because it just eludes you. And if you can get your thoughts to do the same thing, then you're not attached to them, and they just drift away. And letting your thoughts just drift through your mind is good, because quite often you'll get really good thoughts come up and you think, okay, better jot that down either now, just pause, stop meditating for 30 seconds and jot it down, or put it to one side and jot it down later. If that kind of thing happens regularly while you're meditating, keep a pad next to you. That way you haven't got to break train of thought for very long. It's a bit like waking up in the middle of the night, jotting something down, then going back to sleep. Exactly the same process. And it just puts your mind a bit at rest, because otherwise it actually does, your mind struggles to remember things. As you know, for anything you try to remember, you end up putting post-it notes around and all sorts of other things to remind you. And exactly the same with your unwanted thoughts, because sometimes if they're wanted, jot them down. That way they're captured, and then you can let them drift away, because you've captured them. You've got them reserved for later use. And that's another easy way of doing it. Just shift the focus away from the unwanted thoughts. Quite often we'll actually drill down, I don't want that thought, I don't want that thought. And the harder you try to get rid of it, a bit like trying to get to sleep at night and failing because you're stressing about getting to sleep. Whereas if you just relax, it'll happen anyway. So shift your focus away from those unwanted thoughts. Just, instead of staring right at them and letting them grow, let them minimize, let them just drift away. You can maybe see them vanish into the distance, a bit like the front of the Star Wars films where the words go off into the back of the universe. See them doing that, and it just minimizes and gets rid of the importance you've attached to them, and it's usually an unwanted, unnecessary importance. And just because your mind's chattering doesn't mean you're not meditating. As I said earlier, if you've got nothing going through your mind, that's actually probably worse. So you'll have thoughts chattering, you'll have lots of different things happening, and it doesn't mean you're not meditating. Doesn't mean you're not meditating properly, because properly it's your definition anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And just let it happen. But turn the volume down. Turn the volume down. Turn the importance down. If they're manifesting as pictures in your mind, shift where they go. And you might make that the focus of your meditation this time, so that in future meditations those things form less importance. You can get guided meditations to do almost anything, and reducing mind chatter is one of them. So do that. Might be a hypnosis track. It's exactly the same thing. Hypnosis is just a guided meditation, really. And keep practicing. You'll get better over time. First time you've done anything in your life, chances are, unless you're one of the irritating people who just is very good at sports or math or something else like that, chances are you needed to practice. And same with meditation, just practice and you'll improve, you'll get better. And that includes banishing all those unwanted thoughts, because the more often you've done it, it's just routine. Oh yeah, another one, snap, it's gone. Pinch it out like you pinch out a candle flame. Switch it off like you switch off a light. Whatever works for you. It's your mind, it's your metaphors. And don't beat yourself up if you're not perfect, because no one is. And that includes getting rid of those unwanted thoughts. Because they'll happen. We're human. At least I assume you're human. And if you're human, they crop up, because it's one of the reasons we progress as a species, is that we keep thinking lots and lots of different things. Okay, we might rule out, like Edison did, thousands of ways not to produce a light bulb, and collectively we rule out billions and billions of ideas. So lots of different ways to do it. And if you'd like more help, there's a few links below this video, including some meditations you can just play to yourself and listen to. And could just be a different style of meditation works better for you. Try it. And I've got a few other things. You can join my newsletter, click the link again below this video, and you'll be taken through, and I'll send you lots of helpful tips. So go for it, and thanks for watching.